Welcome to the Distorted Dialogue podcast on the Metal Institute of Thrashology. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, dude. You were playing guitar, weren't you?
Playing's a loose term. I made some noises with it.
Well, me too, man.
So, I'd like to welcome Miss Lava. It's a phenomenal album you guys released in Under a Black Sun.
Yeah.
Such a good album. Tell me all about it.
Well, it has been a hell of a ride the last 4 years, you know. We got off the road promoting. Actually, we didn't do much road promoting the previous records because of the pandemic and all, but we got off the road promoting the previous record, and then our drummer left. So we got a new drummer in. And you know when you're in a group, it could be a art group or a work group, but that person brings a whole new energy into the group, you know, and it just things just started feeding each other. It was like this endless flow of energy going on, you know, and we
Yeah.
started writing the album, and then this band over the last years has a specific thing is that our singer lives in Africa half of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is he's here for 3 months and then he goes to Africa for another 3 months. So whenever he's here, we're like, it's very intense because we have to write, we have to play live, we try to do everything, you know. And
Sure.
then when he goes back, we work at the distance, you know, on the songs. But on this record specifically, as we had the new drummer, that new energy, we tried to do things differently. We started recording a lot in the rehearsal room. So we did a lot of production by ourselves. And sometimes we'd get like, well, let's pretend we're going into the studio for a whole day. We've got this 6 ideas of songs already from the rehearsals. And let's do like from 9 a.m. until 2 a.m. from the following day, just like having beer, eating, you know, and working on the songs and recording them. So I guess all of this vibe came into what you hear now. We were always experimenting, always trying out new things. That gave us a lot of spontaneous. We could work on the songs very spontaneously. You know, we
Yeah.
could we weren't with no strings attached because we have there's songs for instance there's a song called "If I Have a Witch." That song, the structure of the song was completely different than it is now. And as we were always used to working and messing up, messing around, changing things, that I think that shows on the album, you know.
But
And
I
of
guess it's
course,
a big change though to come in, 'cause you guys have been a band for 20 years now. And has he been the same drummer the first 16 and then he left?
yeah, yeah, he
So that's
was,
a big integral piece to your band.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I can
And
see the new energy has to, well, it's sad that you lost a long-term member and a friend,
yeah, but he's still a friend, you know.
Sure.
So, and I'm the godfather of his wedding, so it's okay, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm the godfather of his kid also, so it's all in the family actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but it was very good for us, and now we have a fifth member also. We were always a four-piece band, now we're a five-piece band, and we've started playing live for this record, and that is also giving us more energy, not like a big boost, you know, to write more stuff and make new music also. So that's where we are, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, I wrote down some notes because I listen to so much music and I was like, I want to say, and you hit like on everything I said. Like I thought your album was really, it flowed really, really well, like from start to finish. It played more like an album than a song, like separate
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really enjoyed it. And like I was reading some of the notes on it and it was saying about how this is a darker album, but I felt it was more like you said, a new energy. I felt it was more elevating. I just felt like
Oh, it is a darker album, but the elevation is there because all the themes that Johnny, our singer, writes the lyrics to all of the songs, and all the themes that he was focused on. Well, he took 3 weeks to write the lyrics on the album. He was like, it was sunny here. We have beaches over here, so he didn't go to the beach, anything. He was just like in his basement at home, writing, you know. And he had a very tough time at the pandemic because he was completely alone at home, and he had been a father the year before, so he missed his daughter's first birthday. So all of that was on his mind. So there's the dark theme going around, like you know what, when there's like this dark energy that pulls you in and you just can't manage to go anywhere else but just to revolve around it, you know, just
Yeah.
like an orbit around it. But when you say it's elevating, is that in everything that Johnny writes, and I think that our music, we're happy people, you know.
Yeah.
So there's always a light, you know, there's always a way out. And I think that this record is also about that, you know.
I went back and listened to your first record, Blues for the Dangerous,
Uh,
way back in 2009. And
yeah,
I can see that this is a much darker sound than back then. Like you
yeah.
guys had more of a like a grungy
It was
rocker
my,
sound.
yeah, like more rocky. It was a rock vibe more. Yeah,
Yeah. I really liked the evolution though. I started just listening and it like evolved really organically, you know?
yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just
Nice.
such a I have to be honest. I don't know if you've ever heard of me before, but like I've talked to 100 bands in Portugal. I think Portugal is probably the one of the hotbeds of metal that's like undiscovered that more people need to get into Portuguese metal. And I think you guys like I listen to a lot of thrash and death from there. So this
Yeah,
is like one of my first experiences with some Portuguese like Psych and Doom.
yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Just really, really good album. Where
Oh,
do you
thanks.
guys draw these influences from? Because everything else I hear there is just angry.
Well, you know, we have this band for 20 years, but we also had bands before. So we're not like in our 18s or early 20s. But
Sure.
when we were teenagers, we also had a thrash death band here, you know. So thrash metal and death metal have always been huge here. And since the beginning of the 90s, of course, with the rise of Moonspell, black metal is also huge in
Yeah.
Portugal. But we always loved Kyuss, of course, but we always loved Corrosion of Conformity. For instance, Corrosion of Conformity had a huge impact on me and Johnny, the singer, because we were huge fans of them when they released the Blind album. But then when they put out Deliverance, it was like, oh, what the fuck is
Yeah.
this? You know, and they came here to play in Portugal as a support for Megadeth. And Megadeth was like on one of those huge tours, like the Euthanasia tour or something like that. And they played in our hometown, and we got a chance to go out at night with Pepper and Reed Mullin, the drummer, you know, and we stayed all night talking to them, and it was like they even invited our singer Johnny when we were like 19 at the time, I guess, or 20. And he even invited Johnny to sing a song with them on
Wow.
stage. It was like a cover song. I don't remember if it was Black Flag or something like that. It was very simple. You know, they always got a person of the audience to just shout at the chorus. So that has always been a huge influence for us, you know, Corrosion of Conformity. Of course, Black Sabbath. I was the only kid in my classroom that had all the vinyls with the Ozzy albums, you know, in
Yeah.
vinyl. So that has always been present between me and Johnny. We also liked a lot of Monster Magnet in the 90s
Oh,
because they had Dopes to Infinity. And Dopes to Infinity was like mind blowing, you know. They had
yeah.
I remember that you gotta think that for a country as Portugal, a very small country, when we had a big a Headbangers Ball or a MTV show, when the video popped up on that, it was like, oh my God, this is the new shit. This is the thing, you know.
Yeah.
So all of that had a huge influence, and I guess that shows on what we've always been doing. Then, of course, I was born in Brazil, and my parents also grew in Portugal. Had a dictatorship until 1974, and in Brazil there was also a military dictatorship. So my dad had always listened to a lot of music. My dad has more than 1,000 vinyls, I'd say, and more than 4,000 CDs. So he was always listening to Creedence. He was always listening to BB King. So guitar was always, hanging around. It was always in the context. And I guess that shows. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's a great mix. And I do hear like now that you say like Monster Magnet, I'm like a
Yeah.
huge fan of them and I'm hoping I think Corrosion of Conformity's coming at the end of the summer with I think Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. So
Oh,
hopefully finally get to see them. I had to skip their last one. And
all right.
yeah,
I
there's
love it.
I didn't realize you had such diverse sounds influence you guys, you know?
Yeah.
Like as far as BB King and stuff.
Well, I don't you don't think about it, but it's always been there. For instance, I'd say something completely different from BB King. I remember when Black Sabbath did that like farewell tour. We traveled to Belgium to see them play at a festival, and I was like, "This is going to be the greatest thing ever." But what made me almost cry and what made me go like to the front row, and I even got a guitar pick. Was lucky to get a guitar pick. Was Obituary. I got a Trevor Paris guitar pick, and I was like, oh my god, because all of these things, had a huge impact when we were teenagers and in our life. For instance, I'm Brazilian. When I first heard Sepultura, it was like Max Cavalera. I wanted to be the guy. First, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker, and then I wanted to be Max Cavalera.
They're both
And
heroes.
so I think it's a mix of all that.
Yeah. I went to school. I live in Pittsburgh and we had a foreign exchange student program and we had a kid come from, I want to say Brazil, and he introduced me to like Sepultura. This was
Yeah,
back in like the late 80s. And
yeah,
it was mind blowing to me because like I was listening to like Iron Maiden and I was young. I think I was in like seventh grade. And
yeah.
I think I
Sepultura.
heard first time I heard that and the first time he showed me the Exploited and I was just mind
Yeah,
blown.
yeah,
But
nice.
yeah, I can't get over. So you guys are from Lisbon, right?
Yeah,
Is there
Lisbon.
like a huge like music scene in Lisbon?
Well, I'd say there used to be a bigger scene when we first started. It was easier to get shows in clubs, and clubs would be packed to hear rock and roll music. Then the indie thing came along, and things changed a bit, and now there's DJing is everywhere.
Yeah.
But there are some cool bands coming out. There's this band called Máquina. It's machine in Portuguese. And Máquina, they're like fuzzed. I'd say they're like a fuzzed out club psych stuff. You can hear Black Sabbath riffs on the bass guitar, distorted bass, and then the guitar plays everywhere.
Sure.
And the drummer is the singer, but it makes you want to dance. And so they've been playing all of Europe. I wouldn't be surprised if they went on to the US one day because they're in a good booking agency. Then you have another heavy psych. It isn't heavy psych, it's psyche rock, I'd say, outfit. They're called Travo. Travo is a Travo.
Okay.
Recently they did a session for KEXP, your radio. I think it's a Seattle radio, KEXP. I don't
Okay.
know. They did a session for them, and it's awesome also. So in terms of like this stoner psyche stuff, those are the main bands, I'd say. There's also another one that's called Desert Smoke. They're pretty cool also. They're playing some festivals in Germany this year. To me, those are the main newcomers in
Yeah.
this.
My so far one of the contenders for album of the year for me is Portugal's Destroyers of All, if you've heard that.
Okay, I haven't heard that album.
Holy shit, man. Like, I don't know what you guys put in the water over there, but their last album was a beast, and then this one is too.
We don't put anything in the water. We only drink wine here. You know, wine and beer.
Yeah. But that album, that's my album of the year so far running, I think, is
Okay, okay.
Destroyers of All.
I'll
But
have a listen. I know the name. I know their name. I don't believe we've ever played with them. We play with lots of bands from different styles, different
sure,
genres,
sure.
but I don't believe we've played with them.
Yeah, I interviewed Aoidos, if you know them. They're Aoidos. They're from what the hell is it?
From the north,
Algarve?
Algarve, yeah, from the south, yeah.
No, 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 then that's not it. Colminos? It's like a little north of you. I can't remember though.
Okay, I don't know.
Fucking look it up. But yeah, they're a great black metal band and they use piano in their black metal. I talk to their bassist all the time and they work a lot of like classical music into the black metal. It's
Okay,
really, really like my daughter does ballet, so I'm really into classical music too.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, so they're another great band. I'll have to send them over your way because we're like I started talking to Aoidos and we decided we wanted to cross pollinate. Like I wanted to introduce bands that I've worked with from around the world to you
Okay.
guys and then you guys to them. So I'd be more than happy to spread your name.
Okay, cool, man. You've given me two names so I can check them out. Destroyers of All, I had already heard, but heard about them, but haven't heard the sound. So I'll check them out, and I'll look up Aoidos. That's how you say it. How do you
Yeah,
spell it?
Aoidos.
Okay, that's a weird name. That's not Portuguese or anything.
Yeah,
Aoidos.
they said it. I think it's Greek for bard, they said, but I can't remember where they're from. I know it's like a city on the coast, Columbia or something. I can't remember. I'll look it up and send it to you. But
Okay.
it's a great band, man. Great guys too. I reached out to their bassist and he said he's watched you guys a couple times when you guys have like passed through. And
Yeah,
Apocalypse Conspiracy is another one. I think they're from Lisbon
I haven't heard about
or
them.
maybe Lima. Lima? Is there a
Lima.
Lima?
There's Ponte de Lima. That's a Lima Bridge. That's way up north. So I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyways,
I'll look.
back to you. Let's get back to your album that kicks ass. My favorite song on that was the Neon. What the hell? I
Neon
wrote it down
Gods.
somewhere. Man,
Short
that just
Neon Gods.
yeah, such a great groove to that song.
Cool, man. Sometimes when we start writing songs, um, we have the ideas. Usually, someone starts with a jam, and then we start going, okay, do that again, and then we start building on it, and then we'll see where that leads. And at the end of the rehearsal, we always play, well, let's play one last time so we can record the song like in the mobile phone. So the next rehearsal we can work on it again. And we always give funny names to the songs. It's like that one was like Mastodon, Kyuss, well, Led Zeppelin, something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always Sleep, Kyuss, Sabbath, Judas Priest, Mastodon, whatever.
yeah.
So to me, that song, when you talk about that song, uh, I really like the song because it has that it's all built around the bass, the bass line. And if you notice, the bass line almost doesn't change. So and that's deliberate. And we try to do. Mastodon does a lot of that, and like going from really heavy to then opening up lots of chords, with something very beautiful, and then just doing some verses like very laid back. The new drummer has this kind of Bonham feel, like very laid back in the very like in the pocket,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can say. So that's the thing around that song. Really like it also. It's been working out great live.
I,
People really, people really like stomp their foot. They're like this listening to the song.
I noticed too on your last album, there was like you're you play bass?
No, I play guitar.
Oh, you play guitar. I thought you played bass. But the bass line is just really funky. Like
Yeah,
even on the previous albums, they were really funky, but it seemed on this one, like everything, even the album titles got down to like a spatial, Like everything felt very cosmic and spatial. And
Yeah,
to this album felt more patient to me. Like there was a little bit more negative space in there and it
yeah,
allowed
yeah,
the songs to breathe a lot more. And
yeah, yeah.
I think now that you say it was written around the groove or the bass, I think that that's what gives that song that groove I like, you know?
Yeah, he's a great bass player, Ricardo. Actually, we the four piece that recorded this album, we are three bass players because I started playing bass and then I started playing guitar when Miss Lava started, and Ricardo has always been playing bass. And the drummer, the new drummer, when he was a teenager, he always played bass in his bands, you know. So
Okay.
so we're like we all come from bass. So
So when I guess when you guys write, then it's a huge like rhythmic approach, you know, or a huge low end approach.
yeah, yeah, it is. And Pedro, the new drummer, he's always very interested in what everyone's doing and what Johnny's singing. You know, he has a big he worries about with the whole. You know, even when we're still in the first steps of the creation of the song, you know, which one is more thinking about his own stuff and seeing if it fits. He's like playing, but he's always looking everywhere and trying. And he'll stop and ask us, "What guys? What are you doing? Maybe we should go this way. Maybe we should go that way." So yeah, I guess it all sums up for that album.
Yeah.
Um,
And I guess that's why it's like such a tight sound too. Like you guys just work the shit out of those songs, you know, and that's why it's so tight and so clean.
and we've also we're very at ease now with the studio time. You know, when you start new bands, you know, when they go to studio to record, it's always something a new universe for them, you know. And for us, we're very at ease with our producer Miguel, and we've already know his studio. We've already been there, so when we got there to record the album, and when he says, "Guys, let's try something completely different here. Let's try changing the sound." When I got there, all of the demos had a lot of distortion, a lot of feedback, you know, everywhere. And the first thing that Miguel told me was, "Guys, your tuning is so low. I need to hear the notes. I need to hear the guitar chords, you know. Let's take down the distortion." And to me, that was like,
Yeah.
okay, you feel naked, right? But you have to be at ease with the process. Okay, let's do that. Whenever we wanted to experiment things, that also came in the studio's time. You know, not only in the pre-production but also in the studio time. So I guess all of this makes the approach you were mentioning before. It's not like different songs. It feels like an album, and we really feel like that also because there was this very cohesive vision. Every time we got together, ourselves or with the producer, to work in it, you know, and that vision was always making the work flow, and everything revolved around that vision, you know. So yeah,
Yeah. I guess I'm like sinking it all in now.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking like I guess too when you're a band, I'm not in a band, I never recorded, but I guess too like it's like anything in work. You have to learn he's like a new member to the team and you have to worry about, you know, you're not used to that relationship.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
now 20 years later, you already kind of know what he's thinking or what direction he's headed. Probably
yeah,
helps the recording process a lot.
yeah, yeah. It does, but
Yeah.
it's also cool when you for and that's what actually that's what is like driving us now is to have new people come in, you know, to uh, that you don't know how to read them, you know. You have to see where it will take you, you know. And that's that thing of not knowing where you're going is actually feeding us a lot right now. So that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, and I talked to there's a guy who helps me do this Doctor Destruction too, but we were talking about how like Richie Faulkner came into Judas Priest.
For
And
instance, yeah.
and
And
now like Judas
like
Priest is like reinvented and it's
I
so
love Judas Priest.
fucking good.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So I guess it's
When you
about the
see
same
him
for
play live,
you.
yeah. Have you seen him play live, Richie?
Yes, yes, he was
Like, what is this guy doing? What is happening here? It's like so much energy he has. He's
And
awesome.
I just read in an album or in an article where he was saying he has some health struggles too. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, if that's what you sound like with health struggles, like holy
yeah,
shit, man.
yeah.
They're great.
You know, he collapsed on stage. Yeah, in America. It
I
was
did
like
not know that.
yeah, like 2 or 3 years ago. I believe it was an artery that blew, and then he would have died if he hadn't been taken to the hospital on spot. Right?
I don't know
You
how I
should
missed
look,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You should look that up, man. He
Yeah.
almost
Yeah, poor guy, but man, can he play?
he's the greatest. He's the greatest. He's a metal defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to see Judas Priest alive and kicking. So
How does Rob Halford and like Bruce Dickinson defeat time? Like
I don't know, man.
they sound great.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
But
They
I
do.
could see now how the drummer comes in and, you know, he has all these new ideas, new influences, new energy.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of takes you in a new direction.
yeah,
But
man.
this new direction's fucking great, man. I like it.
Yeah, we also like it very much. And when it's for instance, we were talking about the set lists for these shows, and it's always like we have so 20 years, like 5 albums. There's always those songs that you feel that should be there because you know they're the songs that made ours in the beginning. But then, well, there was a time when we were like, "What the fuck, man? Let's play whatever we want, man. We're Miss Lava. We're not Judas Priest. We're not Iron Maiden. We're not ever,
Yeah.
you know." So we just started playing that. And for instance, on this new show, we have like 5 songs in a row. We don't stop the first 5 songs of the new record, and people just get into it, you know. And
Yeah.
that's been very, very important to feel that reaction for us. You know, it's been
I,
very good.
I imagine it translates well live. Like I just saw Carcass a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I
I
saw
could
them
see
in
that.
January. Yeah,
Oh man, they're one of my favorites.
yeah,
And like you could see Bill Steer on stage just like legit having fun and like
yeah.
almost
He is
dancing.
having fun. Yeah, he is
And
having fun.
it translates to the crowd too, and I'm sure it translates right back, and you just feed off each other.
Yeah,
And I thought it was great too. Like you want them to play every song off every album, and all the songs you think they're gonna play, they didn't, but it was still
yeah,
great, still great.
yeah, yeah,
So I think whatever you guys choose would, you know, it'd all work. Your fucking
yeah,
catalog is solid.
yeah. Just have to have fun, you know. So
Yeah, but it sounds like you guys are.
yeah, we are having fun. We
Are
are
you
having
guys touring Portugal and so you can get some
well.
tour dates out?
We played. We are very lucky because the record came out on the 25th of April. That's a revolution day here in Portugal. It was the day the dictatorship went down,
Oh,
and
okay.
and on the 26th, the following day, we opened for Graveyard, the Swedish Graveyard, the
Oh,
Swedish,
yeah.
and it was an amazing show. You know, just a packed venue. You know, and people into our stuff. So it was really really cool. And then the following week, we went to Spain, played 4 dates in Spain, and now our new guitar player, he's getting married. So he's getting married and he's going on honeymoon, right? When he comes back, we have loads of dates. We have a festival here in Portugal. Then we're going to Madrid, 3 dates in Spain, and then we're going to Belgium and 4 dates in Germany.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool, man. We're
Yeah.
having
So did you think when you first formed Miss Lava that you guys would be still rocking 20 years later? And
never thought about it actually. You know, we just like before we started Miss Lava, I had just got married and I had twins, you know, and it was like, well, is this gonna stop this music thing? Because I was in between bands, you know. So when Johnny, the singer, called me to join Miss Lava, I was like, okay, let's do this, man. So you never think about it that much, you know. It's
yeah,
just
just
keep on going, but it feels like if you stop, there'll be something missing, you know, in your life.
yeah,
Just as long as it's fun and it's making and it's healthy for us,
of
it has
course.
to keep going, you know.
Of course. I just talked to Sirith Ungol, and they were saying that they had announced a like a retirement back in, a year, I think it was a year ago, he said. And after that, they were out on the road and they were saying like, "Hey, man, we're old and we don't want to do this. Like we thought this would be the end of the road, but we're having so much fun. Maybe we should keep going." So
Yeah.
that feeling is with a lot of more people than I thought.
Well, I guess back in with the previous bands, it wasn't that easy to keep making music, and maybe going on the road. I don't know. It would be more expensive. I don't know. It still is expensive, but no, we're not doing huge stadium shows or anything. We just do it because we like it. So
But as long as
I
you're having, like you said, as long as you have fun, it's a healthy hobby. I mean,
the day that I don't want to go into the rehearsal room with the guys is the day that it doesn't make sense for me. So that doesn't seem like it will happen anytime soon.
that's
So
a that's a good outlook, man. Good outlook.
so
So
it's
do you
good.
have like one thing as a guitarist that you have to have, like a certain pedal or a certain guitar or
Well, I have a few different guitars right now. I've always been a very Gibson Les Paul and Marshall JCM 800 kind of guy.
okay.
But for this record, I bought a Fender Strat, but it's a different Strat because it's a signature model by this session musician called Michael Landau. He recorded from different rock artists and pop artists. And there's a lot of the sound that you hear on the record that has to do with the Strat. And for I love Pink Floyd, old Pink Floyd, like
Yeah.
70s, end of the 60s Pink Floyd. And when you hear the intro of the record, the first guitar thing that you hear, that's definitely the sound of the Strat.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that this album showed me was, well, you don't have to paint everything with the same color. You can have different tones and different sounds, and different guitars will give you that. So I'd say that I don't have of course it will always be my Gibson Les Paul, a custom.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to mess with other stuff. As for pedals, the wah is always there, and I've used different wahs. Now I'm using a Vox wah. I've always used a Russian Big Muff that I have for years now, but I didn't use it in this record, and I'm not taking it on tour. So it was if we were talking about if this interview was after our latest record, I'd say definitely the Russian Big Muff. But now it's not on my pedal board.
Yeah.
Of course, delay and now the Phase 90, the MXR, the
Okay.
P90. It's
Yeah.
an orange. I'm always using that. The Neon Gods, the song you mentioned, has a lot of that going on. And now I'm just like completely addicted to the smoke clone, the pedal, the smoke clone. I had never used it, and I didn't know it was the pedal that a lot of grunge bands use and Nirvana and stuff. I didn't know that. And now I'm using it, and I'm just like, oh, I'm always going to use this pedal. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah. But now that you say about the Pink Floyd influence too, from like the late 60s, early 70s, they had that like celestial, spacey
Yeah.
sound. So I really see where your sound comes from now. And yeah, I love Pink Floyd, man. Great. And they experiment the shit. Like,
We're the most experimental band.
yeah,
I must have read a book about the history of record production, and it goes it, different producers, different engineers, studio engineers, and talking about process of albums from the beginning, like Elvis albums and blues albums in the beginning, from the guys that worked with Pink Floyd, the guys that worked at Abbey Road with the Beatles, and the Pink Floyd were always like they have that album. I think it's Animals,
yeah,
like always they used to cut tape and put the tape to have the sound in reverse. Um, it's crazy shit that they did, man. I can't imagine nowadays. It's so easy, right? Because
yeah.
just have the Pro Tools and let's try this, let's try that, and it's easy. And then you record. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, now I'm gonna do it a new take with that. But on those times, it was totally different, you know. So they had to really be very creative, I guess.
I read a book about the Beastie Boys, and
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew they were like rock before they were like rap. And they hung out with this reggae artist called Lee Scratch Perry. And
yeah,
what
yeah,
they would do is they would cut tape and put tape together and put basketballs in the drums to
yeah, yeah.
you're
To
just
have a different sound or whatever they were looking for, right?
and it's funny too, because like now you have me all thinking, my dad was a record collector too, but my
Yeah.
dad collected 45s, but it was all old blues and doo-wop. And
Okay.
now that I'm getting older, I feel like I like that. I love the old blues like Robert Johnson, where it has that
Yeah,
crackly.
yeah, yeah. That's
I love that production too now. Like I listen to like Pagan Altar, and it's almost the same sounding
yeah.
production now that I think about it, but it's two different complete genres of music.
That's great, man. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, I don't
It
know.
makes sense. It totally makes sense. It totally makes sense, you know.
Yeah, I really like your approach to this. So I guess
Uh,
you guys all like write as a collaborative process then, not individually track share.
no, 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 no. It's always collaborative. It only gets in the track share phase when Johnny goes back to Africa. But we're discussing stuff that we created together, you know.
Now
And
I'm go ahead.
no, no, I was only gonna say that music wise, but when it gets to lyrics, we've in the past albums we have contributed a bit, but normally it's Johnny like closing in and going about
Now
doing
has Johnny been going to Africa since the beginning of your band?
well. I don't, not that you mention it, maybe, but now it's been more. He's more now. It's more present in our life when I put it like that, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe, but maybe in the beginning he didn't have to go so much time there. Oh yeah, because he's a creative director at an advertising agency, but that advertising agency also had an office here in Lisbon, so he could work from here. Now they're only there, you know.
Okay.
There's to be more there, and then he can work from here, but he's like at home working for them, you know.
But it's been long enough that you guys have like a system down, you know?
Me and Johnny, we go like since we were 13 or 14, like waiting for the bus, and we had long hair, and what's the shirt you're wearing, man? Oh, this is Rothschild America. Oh, I never heard that again, you know. So that's how we became friends in the first place. He actually invited me to our first band, and then he invited me to Miss Lava, and I fired him from our first band. We're always telling this story. He invited me to the band, and then I fired him a few years later. Shame on me. And now he invited me back to Miss Lava. But
Well,
we
hopefully he don't fire you either, you know?
yeah.
Well, hey, I hate to cut it short. We only got a minute left, but I want to thank you with so much going on, taking time to talk to me. I really had a blast, man.
Yeah, me too, Mike. It was a nice talk, man. Thanks very much, man.